My name is Mark Cooley, and I'm here to introduce Frank Lonardelli. Gordon Bell High School has a tradition of graduating exceptional people. And looking at this year's crop of graduates, many of whom I know, things are no different this year. Because of the exceptional graduates that this school produces, we have our share of academic stars, we have our share of athletic stars, and we have our share of students who've overcome adversity. Frank Lonardelli is one of those people. He graduated a number of years ago, and he majored in beating Mr. Benson one-on-one in basketball. Although Frank crossed the stage at his graduation, he didn't have a diploma. He was on a journey that would take longer than most. He faced tremendous adversity growing up, and his experiences at Gordon Bell left a mark on him, a mark that proved useful in his later life, which was evidenced by many accomplishments, not the least of which was being a multimillionaire before the age of 30. As a result of his experience at Gordon Bell and of his commitment to the values that you students have all learned there, he's created the Arlington Street Foundation Scholarship, which provides support to students who have athletic ability, academic ability, and the ability to persevere through adversity. It provides tuition, books, and mentorship for an entire university career. Frank's here to talk about it.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate the introduction. It should be noted that before I got out here, one of the teachers went back to my graduating class yearbook and reminded me that it said, Frank Lonardelli, most likely to become pizza delivery boy. I did deliver a lot of pizza. I was asked today if I could share one key strategy I learned. Babies, I love them. I learned about being successful. So I chose a very important topic. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about the most important relationship you have to master, besides the relationship with yourself. It's the relationship with your parents, and why that's so important. When I use the term master, I need you to understand that I mean to make meaning of something in a positive way at a high level, regardless of circumstance. To do this, I'll share something I learned literally 90 days ago, and I'll fill you in on a couple secrets your parents have never told you. In its simplest form, I grew up believing that there were three types of parents in this world. Parent number one, the ideal parent. Parent number two, the parent of adversity. And parent number three, the non-existent parent. Parent number one, the ideal parent. To describe this and to give you the details would not give it justice. But I suspect there are several kids today who believe that their parents fall into this category. And if you're one of those kids, then congratulations, because you're truly blessed. Category number two, the parent of adversity. Parents of adversity. These are parents who suffered through very difficult and adverse situations that fall outside of the usual difficulties parents traditionally have to deal with. Because of this, it may have affected their relationship with their children in an adverse way. And category number three, the non-existent parent. These are parents who either passed away or for whatever reason decided that they didn't want to be a part of their child's life. So for clarity, very recently I realized a couple of things. Number one is that I believed my mother was in category number two, and I knew my father was in category number three. You see, my father passed away when I was 3 years old, so he wasn't around when I was growing up. And because of this reality, my mother turned into the person she needed to be to deal with this incredible hardship. The hardship of leaving her country, her family, and her language, to arrive here in Canada and to start a new life, a life that began just a few blocks away over on Arlington Street. After dealing with all of this, she lost her husband, my father, and she was left alone to take care of the four of us, ages 3 through 9. At no time during my childhood did I ever believe my mother was the ideal parent. In fact, I thought quite the opposite. And because of that perspective, I had a lot of negative energy in me. And I will tell you, it did not serve me well at all. So I got married 3 years ago. And when my wife, Carrie, and I made the decision to have children, and subsequently got pregnant, Carrie enrolled us in every parenting course known to man. We were literally in school every weekend for 6 months in a row. On top of that, for our pregnancy, Carrie recruited what would later be named the Dream Team. The Dream Team included a doula, 3 midwives, a pediatrician, a homeopathic doctor, a Chinese herbalist, and a dietitian. And I'm not exaggerating. I think there's a few other people in there, but I forgot them. Now, just for context, it's important that you understand. Carrie and I both have professional designations now. We both have postgraduate degrees. I've had a fair level success as an entrepreneur, and Carrie's the vice president of finance and responsible for a $300 million company. So knowing all that, do you think we were prepared to have this baby? And more importantly, do you think we were prepared to become the ideal parent? Hold on to that for just 1 second. I see some head shakes over here. So 3 months ago, we were blessed with the perfect little girl. Her name is baby Elena, and she's named after my mother, who we lost 5 years ago. After a day in the hospital, we took Elena back home, and we placed her into her perfect little baby chair. And for the first time, she fell asleep. Carrie and I stared at this incredible little human being we created, and we had a moment. It was a moment of complete and utter clarity. And we looked at each other, almost in unison, and said, "Oh my goodness, now what are we going to do?" So here is the learning that I want to leave you with. It took me 40 years and this beautiful little person to teach me something incredibly important. And that's this: my mother was the ideal parent. In that very moment, I connected a golden thread that I had never thought about before. And that's this: after 20 years of being connected with some of the most successful people in all walks of life, in politics and business, in religion and activism, I realized something incredibly profound, and that is this, is that I have never heard a successful person speak badly of their parents, regardless of circumstance. So let me leave you with a secret your parents have never told you, and 2 things that you can leave here with today. Number 1, your parents, they didn't really know what they were doing. They just simply tried the best they possibly could, given their circumstances, every single day of your life. Number 2, if you can master the relationship with your parent, regardless of circumstance, you will be well equipped to deal with almost every adversity you will face when you leave here today. And if you remember one thing, I want you to remember this, and that is there are no perfect parents. There are only perfect children. So congratulations to the class of 2010. Congratulations to your parents and your caregivers, or both. And congratulations to the teachers who act as our parents for a significant part of our lives. Thank you for listening.
Frank and I are joined up here by Lynn Rattan, last year's recipient of the Arlington Street Foundation Scholarship. This year's recipient, when he was born in Nigeria, he was quickly entered into the world of politics, which sadly took his father. But the spirit for social justice infected him and has continued to inspire him. Spending migrant years between the Benin Republic and Nigeria, this year's recipient was schooled in refugee camps and at home by his mother and by his community, and on the soccer pitches that he tore up in order to earn money for his family. He arrived here 4 years ago. His favorite teacher is Mr. Blakey. It's because what he learned from Mr. Blakey, and in fact from the entire Gordon Bell community, was the ethic of care. That care is the thing that makes us valuable. There are many mysteries about this year's recipient. How, despite the adversity he's faced, he managed to be as charming as clear-headed, as smiley, and as determined as he is. This character that he has is the reason for his award. Please join Lynn, Frank, and I in welcoming Ben Tamana to the Arlington